I get calls from Jay Brown because Rihanna's featured on someone else's record, and then he wants to make sure that they do a good job on that record because one of our clients is on that record. That's excellence right there. Yeah. Like they have a way they expect things to be done, and it's not cutting corners, and I respect that because in this business it's easy to cut corners, and that leads to not longevity, and not cutting corners leads to a long-lasting career, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you look at like in the past in today's era, we've talked about all of these platforms that if you leverage moments of extremism, you can get these flash in the pan moments of getting a lot of eyes on an artist, right? If you were building a new act today, would you leverage any of these platforms in a different way where you could not only build some of this hype in specific moments, but would you be able to integrate them with an artist to create some longevity at the same time without sacrificing the benefits that can come from social media use?
So I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. That's not something I believe in. If those things are working on social media, by all means, do them. But don't just do them. Don't be vapid and just do that. And then the second you stop doing that, there's no substance left to you. So to your point, I don't think you should forego doing the challenges and the stupid shit on online that gets the attention. But I think you should definitely do much more work than just that. Don't be Boonk Gang, that moron whose old fucking social media was just to do stupid shit and rob stores and act stupid and be tattered across his face. Like that's not a substantial career unless you're okay with making a flash in the pan money. And I mean, I'm not against that. Trust me. If that's what he does and it makes him money, by all means, take that money, invest it into something else that's more long lasting and sustainable. How long can you sustain being someone that breaks into stores, gets hit in the face, and does wacky, stupid shit before you get arrested, robbed, or killed?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Just jump in. The way I've always thought about it is the Lil Pumps of the world. I've always thought they're great marketers, but who are the great artists? And I'm not sure we've really seen a great hybrid of a marketer and an artist other than really like a Drake who's maintained his excellence in this social media era, really leveraged meme culture, TikTok, all of that to maintain his kind of number one status. For an up and coming artist, how can they maintain their artistry and what should they be thinking about? You talked about having something more than just the marketing skills. I think a lot of Gen Z is very, very good at this marketing side, but how can they get better at being an artist?
Yeah, because it can be confusing, right? For them, especially real artists, like they want to do what everyone else is doing, but they're feeling that terror with I'm an artist, I want to stay true to my art, balancing that as well, just as to piggyback to our same part.
It's exactly that. It's be authentic to yourself. Do the other shit, but do it authentically and find more like-minded like yourself. Don't be afraid to spend on ads that target demos. Like that's an insanely helpful thing that people don't take advantage of. Just Instagram and Facebook can really help follow your growing. The same way they use those algorithms to find what might pique my interest in a video, they know how to find people that will pique their interest on your profile and your music, right? So keep building out, because if you get that viral moment and you haven't built out enough of a base that is like you or like-minded like you, then you're liable to lose your sight and move on to the wrong way. If you have enough of a base, it'll be a flash in the pan moment, like you said, and you can go on. I worked with Lil Nas X. I was the most excited guy about that record when they signed it at Columbia. The entire urban department thought I was batshit crazy, and they're like, what is this crap? And it's never gonna work. They were all over 45, 50 years old. I was the only guy under 40 when they signed that and worked it. And I had added on my own Spotify playlist for a month before they signed it, just because it had come up and the shit was catchy and my kids liked it. So you never know. But the problem with him was he didn't have any like-minded fans or any kind of base. So he's gone ghost. Like it became all about that country view. And then nobody knew what the rest of his music was like. The follow-up wasn't that hot. Didn't catch, and now he's just gone ghost. So it's you got to build up a base, or keep building it if that flash in the pan happens too early.
Yeah, that's a great point, by the way, on Lil Nas X. The follow-up didn't sound like the hit at all.
No,
very hard to maintain a brand when you get.
And the label was not happy about him coming out. They didn't want him to come out.
Yeah, it's historic too, right? It's not Lil Nas X is the latest example, but for every year you've been in the industry, there's been an artist who's had the #1 song, but couldn't do anything afterwards, right? It's like maintaining, and sometimes one hit is enough to sustain you for the rest of your life.
Well, it really is. If you want to tour in Europe and Asia, there are people still touring from 1980s single hit wonders.
Yes. But what becomes difficult is if you're an artist and you get that one hit and you're not able to continue to develop your art because
your first hit is the biggest hit ever. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and you've worked with artists across the board, right? You've worked with the artists that have that kind of pop success. And then you have the artists who have the consistency. And I would argue that however you build your model, if you're a true artist, you have to focus on the artists and following the model of artists who built a model that's sustainable, right? Versus the marketing.
So, to give you an example of the other side of that, one of my the artist I'm most proud of working with, because I did it all by myself and without a label and had a lot of success, was a guy named Afrobeat. We had a song called Joanna. It was actually called Drogba. And this song was huge in Africa and the UK in 2017, right? 2018 as well. Then they came to the States and it started popping off in New York, and these guys found their way to me and they're like, hey, we'd like you to work this song in America. And America was not ready. American urban radio doesn't play reggae very much or Afro-wave music. And at the same time, Davido had a record, who's a much bigger act. Davido was a billionaire from Nigeria with a huge act. I went out by myself and I got this record number 12, and it was because these guys had laid the foundation and work. And a lot of people don't realize that the general audience, 95% of the world, is not looking for the hottest, newest music. That's not how music actually works. They want familiarity, they want comfort, they want to enjoy it. New music makes most people tune out. Human nature doesn't like new and change. They like comfort and familiar. So this record just kept on generating more and more fans because it was already a year and a half old. It had permeated into so many places already that once we got it onto radio, it was like half the audience knew it, the other half lost their mind, like, oh shit, what is this? This is dope. Like, how did this get here? And I mean, it got to the point where even RCA was calling people angry that this independent artist, Afrobeat, was getting much more looks than Davido. But it was because that record had already done its job. It had created such a large fan base, and it wasn't being forced on anyone by a label saying, you need to like this because we just put it out 3 months ago and you have to like it so we can make money. It was literally, this was the most organic record I've ever worked. Everywhere I got it played, it would come back top 10, top 5 Shazam, and I would go back and show the radio station, and it would eventually grow. And it was beautiful to see cause and effect and to see the actual growth of an act and breaking an act from beginning to end, using an older platform that people thought was not viable to break an act. The guy toured for an entire year in America off that. He's still touring in England, and they just put an Ozuna remix out that got over 500 million streams. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, one song. He's had a career for 3 years off one song, and that's because he developed the fan base off of it and did the right work.